Hey guys, so I'm back here talking about the 10 things you don't know about me. On part 1, you got to hear 1 to 5 of the things you didn't know about me, and I've had incredible feedback from a lot of people who watched it, and you've contacted me through social media or usually Facebook, Instagram, links below by the way, and you're really inspired. So this makes me feel really good, and that's why I'm putting part 2 out. And part 2 is the next 5 things. So the next 5 things that you probably don't know about me are as follows. Okay, so obviously you know me as a financial trader, and I'm the first female Forex trader and educator. The "and" is very important. That means that there are other female traders out there. Of course, private traders are quite a few, and there are quite a few female ones, but on the planet, in the education circuit, that means the people who are speaking on big stages and speaking to, audiences that have no idea about trading, they're all men. And that's why I had a problem with that, because I'm very much a feminist at heart, because I'm a female and I always lived in a male world in terms of either property or Forex came with new challenges. Because I was the first and only female wanting to do this, it was taken good and bad. In the education industry, it was okay. Let's just say that's an easier topic to deal with. But the Forex industry itself, i.e. the hedge fund industry, when I first met my traders that I learned from, they didn't take me seriously. And women in the Forex world are not usually perceived very well. If you think about it, women in this industry are very much like, if you're decent looking or half decent looking, you are usually they don't expect you to be a trader. They usually see women as people that are like, the good looking women are the ones on the reception, the ones that they pay to like be escorts for them, or it's a very male chauvinist industry. And I had a real tough time trying to get guys to take me seriously. But what happened then is that very quickly, and I think I have another video about this, talking about how to deal with men who are like inappropriate. I have a very strong personality, so that means that within 5 minutes, if I know a guy is derogatory towards me because I'm a female, or if they are a male chauvinist, I very quickly tell them to do one. Like, I have no problem in doing that, because I think that was one of my strong points in life. And so that's the kind of challenges I had to. So I had to become very harsh, very alpha in my attitude when I was dealing with these traders, because they are all idiots. I absolutely despised them when they were initially speaking to me, and they didn't take me seriously, or they belittle you. So my point is, if you're a female working in a male-dominated industry, no matter what it is, now there are more than just financial markets. There's engineering, there's so many. I only know those 2 very well, but I know for a fact that I've had students that are coming from engineer backgrounds and even architecture, and there aren't enough females around. Therefore, when there is male dominance, females tend to be very much kept lower, and the pay grade is lower. And see, this is not equal. We're not in an equal society yet, so I have a real problem with that. But I've been there. My point is, I've been there, and I fought my way to be to the top. I don't want a pay split. I will make sure I get more, and I'm always in control. The way to come over that is how I got over this male chauvinism, is that I never worked for anyone, ever. I never ever worked for anyone. I never hardly if I joint ventured with someone, it would be on a contract where we would do a revenue split or a shareholder split, and I would always make sure that I was in the controlling majority, because that was the only way that I was going to make sure my feminism played out. And I was not going to be, I just cannot work in an environment where a guy's got more power over me, and that would really annoy me. So that's my experience, and I hope you enjoyed that point. Talking of being an underdog, you're going to be an underdog a lot. So another thing that you don't know about me was I was an underdog. Number 7 is I was an underdog even in property. So you might think, property seems nothing as bad as financial trading. Correct. But let's backtrack to 2004 when I entered the property market. I was very much the underdog. I was 22 barely, and walked into a room of property, people, gurus, and they were all in there late 30s, 40s onwards, and they look at you, and if you're half decent, like I said, well, actually, if you're not decent looking or anything, it doesn't matter, but it depends if you are a female. They tend not to, and young, the big factor was I was young, so I'm not sure if it was the age or the fact that I was female, but they definitely underestimate you because they think, oh, you might break a nail. In fact, I remember one guy, an Asian guy, of all people, Gujarati guy, who said later, you know, I have to give you respect because I actually thought you were not going to stick around. This is after like 10 years. The idiot said, I have to give you respect because I didn't think you were going to last because, you know, I thought you might break a nail and you might not do it. And I have more properties than him. I'm worth more than him and he can go do one. But men like that are always going to underestimate you and undermine you. I would never do business with someone like that, and I never did. I would never give them the pleasure of me even going to them for any advice. Because Asian men tend to have a major problem with young females doing well, like the older ones. Not all of them. I've worked with some very good ones, but a majority of older Asian men used to look down at women, especially if you're young and single. I didn't come with a boyfriend, partner, or anyone. I was my own self, and so that was very difficult to get past. But eventually the way to get over that, guys and girls, is to have a very strong understanding of human behavioral psychology, and that is why I am obsessed with human behavioral psychology, and it soon became my biggest reason I was so good at property, because when you are the underdog, you can play that card to your favor. When you are an underdog, you can have a conversation with this big alpha male about property, and the idiot will underestimate you so much that he will put all his cards on the table, not knowing that you're capable of taking every single one and doing it yourself. So I would actually play the underdog card in your favor. So if the next time you ever walk into an industry and you feel like you're the underdog, trust me, make that work in your favor. Hope that point helped. Next point I want you all to know about me, or maybe you didn't know about me, is that my best friends have turned on me in the past, and it's based on money and it's horrible, and it's probably the biggest and worst lesson you'll ever learn in life. Do not do business with friends if they want to stay your friends. Why do they go wrong on you, or why does it go horrible? Well, you cannot control their personal circumstances. I think when you're doing big business without a contract, which one of them was without a contract, the second one was with a contract, and they still try to betray you, they still screw you over. I think it's very dangerous calling people you do business with friends, because if they were your best friend beforehand, be very careful before you do business with them if it involves a lot of money, because money changes people. It may not change you. For example, it never changed me, but the other person either gets jealous the reason why these people fell out with me is they got jealous because I was always more successful, and that was because I was doing more deals, or I was the one trading, etc. Whereas they were just trying to get a piece of the pie, and there's always a green monster behind some people's incentives, and it was very sad to see. But two people, one of them tried to get me extorted unsuccessfully in the end, and secondly, another person tried to get me sued and also was not successful. So it's very, very annoying, and it's very sad. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because I don't want you to be naive thinking that you're going to have lots of money and everyone's going to be on your side and everyone's going to celebrate with you. It doesn't happen like that. When you get super wealthy, your best friends will turn on you, or may turn on you, and if you're not careful, you will allow that to happen. So take responsibility for what you do in your life, and if you ever work with friends or family, you have to have a very strong contract, and always remember, it's business, not personal. And unless they understand that concept, because they believe that because you're best friends they can get extra stuff out of you, that they don't technically deserve, I would be very wary of doing business with people like that. So there you go. I've learned the hard way. Hope you guys don't. And I hope that point was also useful. Okay, so number 9 in my top 10 things that you probably don't know about me. Maybe some people do. But I have been in martial arts since the age of 16. And that is been the biggest reason. So I have done 17 years, to be precise, of martial arts. Now that involved kickboxing, Muay Thai boxing, Filipino Eskrima, Western boxing, Kung Fu, Shaolin Kung Fu as well. I absolutely love martial arts, and I think it's something that I would recommend to everyone, every single person. If you haven't done it in your life, you need to go to a boxing lesson if you haven't. And the reason I love it so much is it's the reason I've got so much willpower, and why I have got such a strong mind, and I can literally keep fighting in life through all the challenges. So I mean, technically my sportsmanship started when I was 7. From the age of 7 I was in competitive sport at school, but it wasn't martial arts, it was like athletics or netball or whatever. And I was always good at sport, and I think sport, especially if it's a non-team sport, it makes you much of a warrior, because you're on your own out there, and the only person that's going to get you past that finishing line or through that match or through that fight is you. And sometimes you will get hit, and a lot of the times, especially in practice, you're going to get knocked down, and you have to keep getting up. The discipline there is second to none, and I think it precedes any discipline you can get from business or from, I think everything else in life is easy if you can get through tough competitive sports, no matter what it is. I like physical sports like Muay Thai, kickboxing, etc. The only reason I stopped is because I broke an ACL. My Muay Thai trainer, who technically I should be suing, but I like him too much, he's a very good and respected teacher, let's say, he broke my ACL in my right knee, so I had to have surgery on that, and that's the only reason I stopped. And that's the only reason then I got nails, which I never used to have long nails before, because I always was in boxing wraps, and you cannot get your hand in a tight fist with blimming nails. So I'm quite happy to go down. But now I have got this ACL injury. I don't know, ever since I came back, I tried to go back too soon, as you do. You don't listen to the doctor's recovery time, and it kind of I twisted it and I dislocated it 6 times, which is painful. If you dislocate your knee, you'll know what I mean. So anyway, guys, go out and do martial arts. That's probably my best advice for you in terms of getting mental strength, discipline, fighting spirit, how to keep getting up every time you're knocked down. Go and do a sport and do it well. Okay, so now we're on our last point of the top 10 things that you didn't know about me. And the last thing, I wanted to save the best to last, which was about relationships. Now, I used to hate relationships. Yes, believe it or not, you guys probably only known me in a relationship, but take me back to 2004. I hated relationships. I didn't actually believe that marriage would work. I was in an abusive relationship when I was, my second long-term relationship was very abusive, and it lasted 4.5 years of hell. And that person was the devil as far as I'm concerned. But obviously no hate left there. But it's a reflection of what you bring to the relationship. And the reason I was in that horrible cycle or in that horrible relationship and stayed is because I had very low self-esteem, and I grew up in an environment where my parents were abusive. My dad was abusive to my mom very much. And as you grow up watching that, you think that subconsciously, obviously you don't like it, but subconsciously that becomes a norm. So that is what really caused me a lot of problems in my relationship. So I want you guys to ask yourself, what are you allowing yourself to accept? Or what standards are lower than you would accept in your relationship, and where have they come from? Very often they will have come from your subconscious somewhere that is haunting you if you don't fix it. And that's why, again, I got so after I got out that relationship, I worked on myself so much. I hated relationships for a long time, for at least 7 years. I didn't believe that marriage was even worth considering, because people just can't be together for longer than, God, I don't know, whatever. So my whole philosophy on marriage and relationships and togetherness was very different. And I'm not preaching to anyone, I'm not saying what you should believe, but that was me. And if that resonates with you and think, oh my God, if you're in an abusive relationship, or if you're in a relationship where you're not happy, then don't settle for less, because it's easy for me to say, but what that you should be doing is take a little bit of a time out, take a step away from yourself and watch yourself in the third person and try and say, what the hell are you doing? I mean, are you being treated the way you want to be treated? What is your philosophy on life? And then ask yourself, what were your parents like when you were growing up? Were they showing you good behavior patterns? Were they showing you bad behavior patterns? Now, a child would just mimic what they saw growing up. So are you being a child, or are you being an adult? An adult is someone who makes their own decisions and fully deals with the consequences and creates their own set of rules. And that's why I am so strongly about mindset before money, and that's why I have the Millionaire Mindset program. So if you do have toxic relationships in your life, that's where I help you guys on that, and that's on the Millionaire Mindset program. How do you get in contact with me about these things? Well, contact me on the links below, get on one of the webinars, get on one of the events, they're all below. I mean, I think that topic there is huge. Relationships are 90% of your happiness in life, and your success overall in the long term will be determined by how powerful your relationship is. So please don't underestimate how big a deal this is, and really work on it. Work on yourself first. Don't blame anyone else. It's all down to you. And when you've worked on yourself enough, and it's an ongoing process, guys and girls, you don't just do it once and then hope for the best. You have to consistently work on yourself. And I wanted to leave on that note because, as you can tell, I'm in a very good relationship right now in my life, George, and we are very happy. I would happily marry the guy. I don't even know how I could say that, because I used to hate the whole thought of it, and it's incredible. So things do change and turn around. It doesn't have to be marriage for everyone. I don't believe marriage is essential at all, by the way, but I do think that if you're in a relationship that you feel comfortable exploring all different areas, then do it. You don't have to, but you can. So, but it's amazing the turnaround I've had looking at relationships. So I hope that helped you guys. I hope that will invoke you to really look at your life in a different way. But that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed part 2. That was the top 10 things, well, the rest of the top 10. And if you missed part 1, go and find part 1, because that links to this one. And ultimately, I love Fortune Academy, because Fortune Academy allowed me to express these kind of topics in a bigger audience, allows me to reach lots of people. That's why I'm doing all these YouTube videos. So please share these YouTube videos. I want people to understand what the Fortune Academy message is all about. It's about mindset before money. It's about liberating yourself and making yourself have those choices. And I particularly favor the underdog. If you're an underdog in your life, then I want to work with you, because that is very much me in my life. And I will keep pushing and keep helping an underdog do well, because I believe you guys have got what it takes. So can't wait to work with you guys. Hope you enjoy this video. Again, subscribe and write some comments down. I will love to respond to you, and give me some ideas of other topics you want me to talk about, because I'm happy to do so. So I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye.